main asset we focus on today is going to be our Ascent line of cellular connected access control and telephone entry systems. So security brands, we do a variety of things from access control to gate hardware to keypads, card readers, pedestals, accessories, but we're going to focus on the Ascent line of telephone entry. I'm going to go through and give an introduction on the company. I'm going to not speak word for everything that's on every slide because we got some things we want to cover in a short amount of time. But like Bob said, this will be recorded so you can go back and review at your leisure. But again, who we are, security brands. We manufacture, design, build, and manufacture access control systems, telephone entry systems, with the telephone entry and access being a cellular connected device. So that is our core foundation of communication. We've been around since the late 70s, early 80s. We started out as American Access. Don Allen founded American Access. And American Access is still prevalent in a lot of our designs and a lot of our products. So to the point to where an American Access keypad that was designed and built in the early 90s has the same programming steps as the keypad we build and design today. Only we've added more features, capabilities, and things to keep up with modern times. Shows here we developed a wireless telephone entry system, residential telephone entry system back in the early 2000s. So that was the first foray into wireless. It was not cellular, but it was wireless from the gate back to the house where it tied into the existing phone lines, like the traditional residential telephone entry systems of the past. We're also going to be looking at in 2012. In 2012 is when our current ownership purchased American Access and rebranded our company as Security Brands. With that, we basically combined three different go-to-market logos and brands, American Access, Summit Access, and Kodiak, which was hardware, to become Security Brands. At that time also, we started developing product. Focus was our first effort to hit the market was 2014 with the X1, which was a residential, light commercial telephone entry system with it being a cellular connected device. So no phone line required, no internet required via cellular. At that time, we also introduced our Summit Control management portal, which is a cloud platform which allowed for managing these devices. So it's completely cellular connection. In 2019, next step in the evolution of the company, we moved our manufacturing, warehouse, and design to Dallas, Texas, where we're currently located. And then also we came out with the M class of cellular connected telephone entry systems. So in 2019, we started moving into the multifamily, which gives us displays and user interface for apartments, condos, townhomes, and gated communities. Next step in the evolution of our company is in 2022, we introduced wireless accessories, the Wireless 300 in our Ridge line, but also Secure Pass. Secure Pass is going to be our weekend accessories, keypads, card readers, and the like, that work with not only Security Brands product, but other manufacturers also, other manufacturers' weekend devices. 2023 was a big stepping stone for us because that's when we introduced Summit Control Sierra, our next generation of cloud management platform to manage our Ascent series devices. In 2024, we introduced our color multifamily devices, which include our Super SIM technology, but also include high definition video calling via an app, also QR codes for guest access and visitor access. And then along with that, we redesigned our existing product line to fit into our new mold and our new technologies introduced in 2024. And finally, towards the end of last year, we introduced our Ascent Link line of accessories for use with our telephone entry and cellular connected access control systems. We're going to talk a little bit more detail about each one of these moving forward. Here's just some of the logos. We are going to focus today on the Ascent mainly, and also touch base on the Ascent Link. And also Summit Control Sierra. One of the things that we're really proud about at Security Brands that you'll realize is simplicity. Our instruction sheets, for example, you see an instruction sheet, installation manual, our installation manual for the Ascent X1 is basically one page front and back. So the idea here is to keep it simple, make it simple to the point of from an installer's perspective, they need to have two wires for power and two wires to go to the relay to the gate operator or the electric striker maglock that it is controlling, and their job is done. On our Ascent line, all of our cellular radios are fully integrated in with the board to the point of where we have a super SIM. Our cellular connectivity via the super SIM means that we can connect right out of the box automatically to all the major networks, whether it be AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Mint Mobile, Consumer Cellular, all of the above. We do that automatically to where is nothing required from the installation or installer's perspective. And also from the end user's perspective, they simply need to log into our Summit Control Sierra portal, create an account, and they're connected. They do not have to go to the Verizon store and get a SIM card or have to worry about having to find a cell service or cell provider or even have to provide internet down to the gate. It's all fully self-contained. We're going to focus on the Ascent line of cellular access control. Here are examples of all of those. We're going to talk a little bit in detail about all of those. But here's the entire family right here. First, we've got the residential slash light commercial. The R1 is our most cost-effective residential telephone entry system. We're going to go into more detail. The X1 is also for residential, but it now moves into light commercial because it's got WeGAN inputs and multi two relays on board. The multi-tenant, multi-tenants for multi-family, gated communities, apartments, condos, anywhere where you have residents living behind the gate where a guest has to be able to communicate from there. We've got actually keypads and card readers to where there does not have video or excuse me, voice communication, but it's for outlying areas where they want have a remote facility where they do not have internet or but they want to be able to manage access and do activity tracking, activity logs, and things like that. All this is done via our built-in cellular radios. We also have door controls to where you, again, you do not need additional voice communication, but you've got door control, gated communities where you've got a clubhouse, a swimming pool, maybe a rear gate that is only for residents. You can add door control to that to be able to have that tie into your installation and have it managed all from the same input on the Summit Control Sierra platform. First of all, any questions about the family and the different products in there? We're going to go into little detail on each one of those, and we'll touch base on the differences and the highlights and the features and benefits. But any questions so far? No. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, first is it's going to be the M8. The M8 is our flagship. It is a full 8-inch touch screen display. The display is in a horizontal configuration. In addition to the touchscreen display, we do have a physical keypad. I'm amazed at the number of people and number of properties that prefer a keypad still, but in a lot of cases it makes sense. Cold climates, or even in hot climates, like in the desert, in the Palm Springs area, touchscreens they do not work well with gloves, and also people do not like touching things in when it's 128 degrees outside. So the physical keypad is a big feature that people do look for. In addition, it's got physical buttons for scrolling through the directory. Also, within the past 3 months, we started building the M8 with a built-in proximity reader. So built-in prox reader, so you no longer have to drill into the side of the cabinet or drill into the gooseneck just for a proximity reader that's used for access. So some of the features that we're going to look at here is auto network selection. Remember I mentioned about all of our cellular connected devices will automatically connect to the strongest available signal, whether it be AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, etc. Up to 10,000 users, depending upon the plan selected, but 10,000 users can use the system via an app, which is at no charge, no additional charge for an app. The app also gives us video communication from the telephone entry system to the resident when a guest calls, because our units have a built-in camera. So via the app at no charge, you can actually text the system and control and open the gate and control the gates via text if so desired. And also voice users, again, voice communication, calling a traditional telephone, whether it be a landline or a cell phone, you can still use your phone to gain access, even in the if an app is not being used. So again, 8-inch touchscreen, high definition video calling. All of our telephone entry systems have built-in cameras and all have video calling to the app. We also have a downlight. Our units have a downlight on the bottom of the unit that actually illuminates the space underneath the unit on the gooseneck or the column at the driveway. We like to think that it helps identify where the unit is so people are less prone to run into it with their mirrors on their pickup truck or trailers or tailgates. Uh, QR codes, QR code access via the built-in camera. QR codes can be used as a credential for guests or temporary contractors. We can get into more detail about that. But we also support rollover calling. So in the event that up to 3 numbers. So in the event that someone places a call to the first person, if they don't answer, we can roll over and automatically call a second, and then possibly a third also. All that for each individual user in the directory. Installation is simple. I mentioned most cases it's 4 wires, 2 for power, 2 for relay. All of our terminal blocks are completely removable, so you don't have to put your hands inside the unit just to wire up the devices. The M8 is a 4-door, 4-gate controller, so it's got 4 relays. It's got 4 WGAN inputs and also has 4 digital inputs. So you can hook up 4 keypads, 4 card readers, 4 radio receivers with WGAN output. Also, we have the integrated prox receiver, like it mentions right there. It does not occupy one of the 4 WGAN inputs, so you can still connect 4 devices to that. Also, I mentioned we've got physical buttons and a physical keypad. So, any questions on our flagship M8?
I do have a few.
Sure.
On the reader, what kind of cards do they take? It's a HID, prox.
Yes, Javier, that is an HID compatible reader. Absolutely.
Okay, and what about the 4 digital inputs? It's just to hook up receivers or external? That means that you have 16 relays in the unit?
The 4 digital inputs are actually inputs where you can hook up a door contact or connect to the limit switches on a gate operator. And what that will do is in the event that the gate operator is stuck open, for example, it fails to close, using the digital input with a contact attached to the limits on the gate operator, you can get a notification via the app or via our Summit Control Sierra that the gates are remained open.
Also, is there a subscription for the app?
Yes, there is. There is a
Uh,
subscription, and we will definitely talk about that in a little bit more detail. Yes, our cell radios and our cellular devices require subscription, but it is an all-inclusive subscription, meaning what that price is what the property will pay. They do not have to pay for any additional phone lines, internet connections, or anything else like that. But we will certainly give more detail about that. All right,
okay,
great
uh,
questions.
I'm done with my questions.
All right, well, hopefully I answered them for you.
Yeah.
All right. So the next in the family is going to be the M3. All the features, all the benefits, auto network selection, 10,000 users. It's got an 8-inch display, but now it's a more vertical design, and it is still a touchscreen, but there's no physical keypad on board. So this is a more compact design, but it still has all the features at the M8, with the major differences being no physical keypad, and then also this is a 2-door, 2-gate system. So it's got 2 relays with 2 WGAN inputs and 2 digital inputs, but also it does not have the built-in proximity reader, but it still has the built-in cellular radio, built-in camera for live video, for video transactions, and also for QR codes. Okay. Next is going to be the X2. The X2 is going to be a full-featured multi-family telephone entry system, but now instead of having a touch screen, it has a physical uh, paper directory. It is LED backlit, so it's very bright, but it's a paper directory that the property can go and use a template that we supply to have the users or the tenants' names, and they can add and change those as needed. But there is no physical display. Very useful in smaller condos and apartments. Up in the valley, in a 4-block area, you could have 30 different properties, each with 6 or 7 different units, And the X2 is a perfect product for that. It's the most cost-effective multifamily unit we have, but you still get all the features. You still get the app availability. You still have QR code capability, still have removable phone blocks. Okay. Any questions so far? Beautiful. Next is going to be the X1. The X1 is now, it is considered to be a residential type unit because it's got a single physical call button. So pressing the call button is going to call a specific contact that you so desire. So it's not for multifamily. But we look at this as a light commercial because now we bring to the table, we bring two weekend inputs and we also have two relays. So we can have add card readers, add keypads to that. So think of an application to where you got a commercial environment where they got uh, a a truck yard where they have trucks coming in and out all the time. They have guests, they have visitors. So the trucks that are supposed to get in may have a card, they may have a transmitter, so they can use that to activate the system. But guests have to physically hit the call button to call into the office to have access allowed. One of the new features that brings into this with this unit is going to be what we call broadcast calling. So when someone hits the call button, it could ring 10 additional numbers or 10 different numbers all at the same time. So now everyone in the office, their phone will ring, and whoever is available can answer the phone and can grant access. So that's very useful in that type of a light commercial environment. Again, two relays, two weekend inputs, two digital inputs, and again, it is cellular connected, all managed by our Summit Control Sierra management platform. Our Ascent C2 and C4, these are door controllers, but they've got the built-in cellular radio built into that. You get all the same features and benefits of up to 10,000 users, control it via app, text, but I made a mistake. It's not necessarily voice, but what you can do is the C2 has got two doors or gates that it can control. C4 has got four doors and gates that it can control. It does not have to be used with a telephone entry system, but a lot of people use this in an application where there's a telephone entry system at the main entrance, but they have a common areas, a clubhouse, a fitness center, swimming pool, business center, weight room, all of that where they do not need telephone entry, but they still want to have access control, all managed by the same system. The C2 and C4 door controller portion for that. Any questions so far? Excellent. Next is going to be K2. The K2 series is cellular connected, but now it gives you card reader and keypad and weekend input capability with no voice, but it's for that outlying area, that outlying property to where they want access control. They want to manage and maintain and determine who comes and who goes with activity log and tracking, but there's no phone line. There's no internet. It is out in the middle of nowhere, but they have cell service. Using a K2, you can provide that access control, full featured access control, up to 10,000 users via the app and also via text, managed by the Summit Control Sierra platform. But now it is all fully self-contained and you can now manage your access control from there. The R1, the R1 is our most cost effective. It is a residential application, so it's got a single relay, no weekend inputs, but it's a beautiful product for a residential application where you hit the call button and then it will call the designated contact, and then you have high definition video, live video streaming from the R1 to the user via the app. And then also it still supports rollover calling and broadcast calling up to 10 numbers. So someone could hit the call button. The wife is not home, is not available. It will then call and roll over and call the husband, or it will then call the oldest daughter, for example, just as an example. But the R1 is our most cost effective, and it definitely will compete head to head with anything that's out there on the market today for a residential telephone entry system. Any questions so far? Outstanding. The Ascent switch. Ascent switch is got a single weekend input and a single relay. It can control a single door device. It can use the app. It does not have voice or video, so it does not have the ability for QR codes or live video transactions. It's simply a remote switch that you can control via the app or the Summit Control Sierra. Ascent Link. Ascent Link is actually an accessory to our Ascent line of telephone entry and access control systems. And what it does, it allows you to expand the access control via a wireless mesh network connection back to the central controller where the access control is maintained for access granted, access denied. The major difference is, or the benefit here, is there's no cabling or wiring that needs to be pulled from that central location, whether it be the telephone entry at the main drive or a door controller in the clubhouse, no cabling required. And then it will communicate via a mesh network to where someone can present a card to the back gate and it will grant access. It's got an internal relay on board, so it's all fully isolated via cabling. So you simply apply power and you have your access control. Wireless range is up to 1,000 feet line of sight, but because this is a wireless mesh network, we now have the ability to expand the range by adding additional devices. So each device functions as a repeater or extender. In addition to that, I'm going to show you here first of all, I'm going to talk about I got ahead of myself, talked about the units that these are compatible with. They're compatible with all of the Ascent units that you see, with the exception of the R1 and the S1, the switch. And the idea there is they do not have the power supply or the infrastructure on board to support the wireless radio because they are a cost-effective device where we made conscious decisions on what we can do to get a price point that is what the market is wanting. But these are the Ascent Link devices that we offer. We have a keypad, a card reader, a controller. The controller is where you can add your own weekend device. An example that I just was on a job just earlier this week where they're using an AWID long range reader with windshield tags. So they simply tied that into the Link controller and it communicated back to the telephone entry system at the other end of the driveway and no cabling required. We also have the Extend, which is the repeater. The Extend is nice because it's low current draw. We designed that with the intention of it being powered by a solar panel, a 10-watt solar panel, with a 12-volt, 6-amp-hour gel cell battery that can be mounted somewhere tucked away out of the way, but still functions as that extension of the network. The starter kits are the actual wireless radios that plug into the telephone entry or access control system, along with an adapter. And the long range includes the Extend. Okay. Any questions about Ascent Link or anything we've covered so far? Excellent. Now we're going to get into the meat of it, the meat and potatoes of this. Javier, I think you mentioned this. So Summit Control Sierra, that is our management portal, our cloud-based management portal, where we manage all of our Ascent series telephone entry and access control systems. It is, again, utilizing the cellular connection between the Ascent device to the cloud, and then that's where we manage. And from a dealer's perspective, they can manage multiple installations all from the same portal, from the same login, or end users and homeowners can log in themselves and manage their systems themselves if they have the appropriate usernames and passwords. And again, all this is based upon our built-in cellular connectivity in our Ascent line. So this is an example of the screen, and this is an example of the main screen that if a homeowner is managing their own R1, they're only going to see their own system there. But this shows an example of a dealer that would be managing multiple systems, multiple installations. So this is a good centralized dashboard for that. This right here is going to be a screen where we show the devices that are present in the individual system. This happens to be an example of what I have set up in my office here for a M3 telephone entry, and I've got two Ascent Link wireless devices, one keypad and one combination keypad with a card reader. This is not the users. In an apartment complex, gated community, each unit or each user would be listed with their own username and their role and their phone number, email. This is where the access levels are going to be located and determined there also. This is a dashboard. This tells me the status of the devices that are present. Green is good. And the fact is all three of my devices are online and connected. It tells me when's the last time it has seen it. Typically it is within seconds of what you actually see. But also we have on the screen here, we've got our real-time events as they occur. This also is the activity log. These are all of the events from all of the devices present. With our activity log, we also have extensive reporting that I'm gonna give an example of here in a little bit. But you can pull reports of specific activity, picking a date and time, or picking a door or gate, or picking a user. All that is completely flexible, and reports can be created and saved for future use. We have an app. I mentioned the app. First of all, the app we provide at no charge. There's no charge for users to be able to utilize the app. The app is for the end user to be able to open up the door or gate to see transactions that are associated with them, but they can also use the app to generate a guest pass. So the idea behind this is the resident, when they're on property, they have their phone with them. They want to go to the fitness center. They don't need to bring their card or have a keypad code or a remote. They have access on the app itself. In this case, I'm showing the drive gate, the pool gate, and the fitness center. So all of that can be done right there via the app, and the app carries the same access privileges as the user. So if the pool is only open from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, the app is only going to allow that user to gain access 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Same for any other device. We also have an app for an administrator, for the dealer or the property manager that's maintaining the system. They could do approximately 98% of the functions on the app on their tablet or their Apple or Android device that they can do on the Summit Control Sierra website portal. So that can be done right there. Adding a user, changing a card, deleting a card or a code, all that can be done right there from the app without having to be logged on. And also, to go back here, I keep forgetting to mention that our app is also Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatible. So if you're using the app, you can have it set up to where you will see on your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto screen in your car icons that represent the drive gate, the pool gate, the fitness center. So as you're driving up to the drive gate, you can tap that icon on there and it will give you the same functionality as the app on the phone itself. And again, the apps for both the user, resident, and also the administrator, no additional charge. Now we're going to talk about subscriptions. It was asked earlier. So this is an example of our subscription page that we have posted currently. We are updating this, we are simplifying this, but this is a good barometer to look at. And basically, there is a monthly fee per controller that you have on site. For example, with that, you're going to have number of users and also number of credentials that would come into play to determine what level of the plan is right for you. Our is going to be the plus multi-tenant. So the plus multi-tenant for 69, 70 bucks plus a fee and tax, let's call it $80. For 80 bucks a month, that property will have the ability to have 1,250 users, 1,250 instances of the app. Also, it's 2 times the users for credentials, so up to 2,500 cards or keypad codes or wireless remotes. So that's an example. That is our most popular. Remember, we talked about video. We store 10,000 images per month, and they're stored for a total of 90 days. In addition to that, we also have the QR codes and all app notifications as part of this. So that's our most popular, but we can also go all the way up to our enterprise, which is going to be $129.95 plus tax and fees, 140 bucks. It's basically unlimited number of devices, 10,000 users, and unlimited number of photos and images. The idea here is, for example, on the plus multi-tenant, for that $69.95 plus fees, $80 a month. That's for the first unit. Let's say you've got a telephone entry system at the main gate. But let's say you've got a telephone system at the rear gate or a door controller at the clubhouse. Those are cellular connected also, and the additional charge for those is going to be about $55. So a total monthly fee for a system that's going to have a front gate and a back gate and up to 1,250 users is going to be about 130 bucks because it's $80 plus 55. Okay. We're working to simplify this to make it easier, but I want to give you guys a good idea because we feel, actually, we know that our subscription fees are very competitive with anything that's out there in the industry. We also know that some manufacturers have made some changes to their subscription fees and plans and app costs and things like that that have drastically changed what a monthly outlay will be for some properties. We feel that we are as fair and as competitive as anything that's out there in the market. Okay. Any questions about plans or monthly subscriptions?
Let me jump in just for a second so everybody understands, because I got this on the first one, on the first presentation. Instead of saying $69.95 plus taxes, plus this, plus that, what they're going to do is simplify it and give you a total cost all in price. So that's why it was kind of confusing. And that's, I think, is the best thing you can offer your customer is it's going to be $80 a month or $85 a month. Then you don't have to worry about taxes, additional fees, or anything else. So it's a really idea of simplification of pricing. Plus, if you kind of look at this and what they add in, they don't nail you for each time somebody uses it, or each person. So if you have a family of 4 in a house, each person has to pay for an app. And whoa, now all of a sudden, between use and app fees, it gets pretty pricey. So this simplification really is going to help, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly, Bob. I appreciate that additional insight. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Any questions? So, like I said, we are updating that, but it's still probably about a month away. But the goal is to simplify and not make a major change to the schedules or the fees. There might be $1 or $2 difference, but this is a good number that you can communicate with your customer. So, going to go through, just hit a couple of the categories that we offer, and then I'm going to show you some actual live screens. We offer the Edge, which is Bluetooth connected, non-cellular. We offer the Advantage standalone keypads, which you guys sell some of those, which is fantastic. Ridge, which is wireless keypads and also request to exit. Remote Pro weekend devices for working with ours or any other manufacturer's access control. SurePass, Secure Pass readers and tags, mid-range tags, and then also AutoSense, vehicle detectors, probes, old school cabling, works well, works great. Also accessories. Multi-Cells does a fantastic job selling like timers, but we also have fireboxes. We've got hoods for those keypads that are not ideally suited for mounted by themselves on a gooseneck. But we also have electric strikes, mag locks, pedestals. We've got a complete line of car height, dual height, SUV height pedestals, tandem adapters. So gate hardware. I breezed right through those because I want to definitely talk and show you real quick what our portal looks like. And I'm going to jump. I apologize for jumping the screen, but this is what in the Summit Control Sierra portal, you can see it's basically a website that I've already logged into as myself, C. Luker. And then the username, this column here is going to be all the installations that dealer is managing. It'll tell him what his role is and what his credentials for getting in there is. I'm going to click on this because this is my system that I have on my desk. And this now shows me that I've got an M3, a pool gate, and a fitness center, all green. They're all online. Green is good. Tells me when the last is seen. Also, I get a real-time transaction log of what's going on within the system.